Good morning, everybody. John Sfielke here for GAI Insights. Rating your top news, essential, important, or optional. Big question today, is Siri going to be better with Cohere? We'll find out, along with some other things. All right, we have Paul and we have Adam. We have no Labor Day in Australia where where Adam is, but we have Labor Day here in the States. So happy Labor Day, everybody, from the United States. And remember to subscribe or like this if you find this thing useful. All right. Ankash, if you start us off with ChatGPT.
Sure, John. Can you bring up my screen, John?
Yep.
Okay. So the first one that we have for today comes from ChatGPT, and it talks about how ChatGPT's weekly users have doubled in less than a year.
All right. Paul, weekly users going up.
I'm not sure it's a surprise. It's breathtaking numbers. I think you also mentioned 92 or 94% of Fortune 500 companies have it, which is not surprising to me.
Yep.
I think they're on track to do 6 billion next year, and I think they'll 3.5, 4 billion. So the rocket ship continues. I have this as optional. I think it's a little bit like NVIDIA. The rocket ship's gone. Everyone knows about it. I'm not sure this changes any investment profile of our AI leader.
All right, Adam, we're going for optional on this, baby?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, optional it is. Ankash, next.
Okay, the next one comes from Cohere, and it talks about the updates to Cohere's Command R and Command R Plus models.
Yes, here we have a nice update from Cohere, usually well-written stuff. What'd you think, Adam?
It's incremental improvements on their existing stack, and really it's just a product announcement. It's on their website about their next release, so it's more efficient, more affordable, a better experience with new features and enhanced performance, right? That's kind of what you'd expect every time anyone releases anything. So I considered it optional news.
All right, optional news, product incremental. Is this a Barney here, Paul?
It is. Oops.
I love you, you love me, big purple Barney. Okay.
There he is.
There he is.
He makes an appearance. All right. Ankash, next.
Okay, the next one comes from Amazon. So Amazon is now powering Alexa voice assistant with Claude's models.
Yeah, I thought I put myself on to review this one. I'm on the border between optional and important on this one. I think that Alexa, because they have such dominant market penetration, my memory of the numbers of these devices is that the majority of them actually sit in the kitchen or a common living area, kind of a family room and so forth. And the idea of having an actual capable robot in that setting, and I think the next highest is bedroom. So these are like 60-something%, 20-something%, if I remember the old numbers right. And I don't know what the total penetration is of Alexa, but it is, I believe, the largest device-oriented, voice interface app. So I don't know. I think this is important because I think it's going to influence how everybody, we go back to the whole notion of AI as the new UI, right? And to me, this is going to be a profound change for how people think about these robots. So I guess I would give it an important after I talk myself into it. What do you guys think?
John, I was thinking, of course, at some point, Amazon was going to do something to upgrade their Alexa. The fact that it's Claude is kind of a moot point. The new Alexa's coming is really the news.
Yes.
More than specifically what's under the hood, which most people won't even probably know or will pay any attention to this news, right? So in some ways I thought this was kind of optional in that regard. I think what's more important for me is the broader trend of the number of goals Anthropic has been kicking lately, and just the amount of momentum we see them having in the market, and this being just an absolutely massive win for them.
Yeah,
right? I think the bigger news here is, if you're not paying attention to what's going on with Claude and with Cursor and the auto coding with Sonnet 3.5, and like between that and this, you can see a trajectory right now that's quite compelling and worth paying attention to.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, Amazon, as they say in the article, it's just got quite a few, ML engineers and so forth. So for these guys from the outside to come in and get into a core interface like Alexa. That's pretty
Well,
impressive.
and I believe, Adam, John, we're watching the death of the old voice technology. So
Yeah.
Siri over at Apple and Alexa over at AWS, they've had tens of millions, maybe now hundreds of millions of investment, getting displaced by LLM-based tools.
Speaking of which, I think it's a week from now. The 9th is the Apple event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ankash, you're saying Instagram CPO is doing wonders for Anthropic. Why don't you say a little bit about that?
So, John, we discussed this news where Instagram's chief product officer joined Anthropic, and all the, I think, latest features, whether it's artifact, whether it's this particular news or Anthropic's recent announcements of various partnerships, it has come after that. So seems like they're doing something good.
Seems like a good hire. All right. So we're at least an important. Were you going for essential here?
No.
No.
But
All
I do want another footnote on Adam. I do think Anthropic's doing really good on features. And I think, in my simple brain, that initially all discussion was on the motor in the car. Can we get the motor to go 10 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour? Now we really are talking about the other features, prompt length, voice, input.
Man, the artifacts. That's probably
artifacts, exactly.
Yeah.
Nice standard maturation of the category.
Fantastic. All right. Important it is. Ankash, next.
Hey, the next one comes from New York Times, and it talks about how do you change a chatbot's mind.
So, Paul, here we have an author who is having a hard time because he's given some criticism of the robots, and now the robots are like, we don't like you. What are we going to do here?
Yeah, this fits in the whole broader thing we've been talking about in multiple different arenas of we've been calling it the SEO bloodbath. But how do you one, control and optimize and manage your brand, personal or company or product in an LLM-based answer world instead of a search world, and two, are you even aware of how fast this is actually moving here? So I actually have this as important. I was in 2 meetings last week where the brands still do not understand. And one of the things that, John, we're preparing for a conference, Liz Vanzura, one of our co-founders, is doing an update on video commercials. And it is breathtaking. She showed me one commercial that was some high-end brand, Louis Vuitton or something, that was done in 8 hours by somebody else, and you can't tell the difference. And the thing I was telling her, I said, you can understand what's going to happen here. You're going to have hundreds of fakes on the videos that then send you to a Timo site to actually buy, knockoffs on these things, and no one can tell the difference. Or you can start having really funny videos where Diet Coke causes your brain to. Anyway, so I think the sabotage on the negative side of brands, personal, product, and company are material, and companies need to start spending more time in this. So important in my mind.
So why not essential?
Because he doesn't give enough practical advice.
All right, Adam, where are you on this?
Yeah, I thought I was between important and optional, so I can certainly, I wouldn't push it to essential, but I can support important. I think it's there's some really interesting concepts in here, and it is an important thing to start to get your head around. And as Paul, you're saying, is a lot of people aren't even really aware of what's going on. And how did you describe it there in the notes, John? You were talking about the AIO, right?
Yes.
And sort of that idea of artificial intelligence. Was it optimization?
Yes.
In this case, yeah. And how that's really the new SEO. So it's interesting concept. I agree with Paul, though. This article kind of meanders a bit and mostly sort of self-aggrandizes this guy's celebrity and sort of what's come of it and what the bots think of him, probably more.
It's more of a therapy session.
Yeah, really. I don't know.
Yeah, but I thought just in terms of I don't know, having run a think tank for years, my experience with executives would be a lot of times Wall Street Journal, New York Times, some of the popular press, maybe less so now with more people consuming short form video and so forth, and really changing the way that they consume info. But it's this notion of reputational management and executives. I mean, think about your CEO at a company and you get on the wrong side of a robot. I mean, that's a bad day,
And John, my experience, they're pretty fragile, those egos. I'm sitting in the second row of cons. I should be in the front row.
I guess you're talking about how fast things change, right? I mean, I just can't even believe we're having this conversation, though, right? It's like incredible.
Yeah.
There's a New York Times article, a cartoon, right? Mommy, Daddy, AI doesn't like me.
Yeah, right. I don't know. I'm feeling essential here. I'm getting no support. I may have to
John,
go.
we won't support you, but I don't think we can stop you either.
Right. Where are the Pope's armies? Right. That old quote. Anyway. All right. Let's do this as essential. Okay. Thanks.
Adam, was there any doubt where this was going?
Okay, the next one. Adam, please go ahead.
Actually, let's devote that one to important, the one before to important, because he's next to. I'm going to make a case for essential. Anyway, Adam, what do you think here?
Angaj, you want to introduce it?
Sure, Adam. So this one talks about how California lawmakers have approved a legislation to ban deepfakes, protect workers, and regulate AI.
So what do you think here?
Look, it's all important steps forward on a path that I think we all knew they were already walking down. This stuff isn't law yet. It still needs further approval. The governor has to basically do something by the end of the month or not, and either way, something will happen, sort of thing. And some of the things I just don't know how they're going to actually enforce it. So they're good concepts. It's important. For example, one of the proposals is about using AI tools to create images and videos of child sexual abuse. And right now, at the moment, because it's hard to even keep up with these things as fast as they advance, it's not even illegal to produce something like that. So they're important steps, but particularly like this first one, it's saying with regards to deepfakes related to elections, they're going to require large social media platforms to remove the materials 120 days before and 60 days after the election. Like the rest of the year, it's okay to deepfake the election, but for those 180 days around it, they're going to tell Facebook what it can and can't have on its platform. I mean, it's lovely. It's a great concept. The actual reality of what this looks like in a month when it either becomes law or doesn't, or in 6 months or a year from now, it's too ambiguous still for me to start getting excited about it.
Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I think I think it fits with the theme we talked earlier. That the downside is becoming very material on deepfakes for political reasons, all the branding that we talked about here. I'm very skeptical on legislation here. So I had it as important, if not optional.
Yeah, I'll come down on important as well. It's interesting, there's that spat going back and forth between Elon Musk and Mark Cuban. Elon just retweeted, a manipulated version of Kamala Harris, and Cuban saying, Elon saying we need more free speech on X, and Cuban saying, yeah, he's defining free speach as what he believes in. It's kind of.
I mean, I think one from the standpoint of AI leader, John, I think if we talk about our back pocket stuff for our colleague Tim. I mean, this is absolutely going to be the news as we march towards this presidential election. It looks like it's going to be very close in a handful of states. All the shenanigans are coming out. The awareness around this is only going to go through the roof. You also have all the kids coming back, the colleges and high schools, and I think the awareness of tools and real fakes and bullying is going to increase this fall. So I think we're walking into a lot more awareness, both in the general public and in business.
Okay, so that sure sounds like essential. It's going to drive the presidential election.
Well, no, I think we're going to have 20 more articles like this over the next 3 months here. So I think this one's important. Stays on the radar screen.
All right, so this is warm up.
Warm up, correct.
All right, so this is like taking a few balls if you're a batter, right? Okay. We're going important on this one next.
Hey, the next one is a case study by Llama Index, where they highlight how one of their clients, Gymnation, has revolutionized fitness with AI agents.
Yeah, I was going to make the case here for essential because I thought that here we've got an example of a real change with some wonderful numbers about how the robot improves conversion from the 50s and 60s to the 80s or so in terms of advertising conversion. How they've really I think it's with 4 people have created these things. If you go down a little lower, Akash, this architecture of the AI, across the value chain here, appointments, sales, member services, experience, and marketing. Not a bad little, format for how to think about this. Looks a lot like some of the stuff we've done on leveraging the P&L, or at least leveraging the order cycle. So, I thought it was a good case study. Yeah, if we go down here, look at this, 87% conversion rate versus 60 to 70. Okay. Improving the booking rate by 25%. And these businesses, it's all marginal customers are huge profitability. So this is a massive profitability driver for them, right? Because their fixed costs don't go up very much with another customer. Their marginal cost doesn't go up very much with another customer. So it's all money, it's all profit. Yeah, I was going to go for essential. What do you guys think?
Adam, strong view.
I'm not. I mean, in some ways, I could like sing the praises and go nuts about this. It's a really great story. It showcases how someone did it themselves. It's actually quite a few use cases in a fairly compact article. It really paints the picture of how you can sort of go away from the big vendors and really own your own intelligence. How you can work Llama Index, just for people who aren't really tapped into them yet. It's probably a really good example to sort of become aware of what are some of the other alternatives in markets. They support 40 plus different vector stores, 40 plus different LLMs, and 160 data sources, right? So they're very much positioning themselves for that own your own intelligence play, providing that platform, but then also, of course, the consulting and the services around it. And this is them telling the story of how they do just that, and quite well. The fact that it's also several use cases, and it's not just describing the use cases, which might not necessarily be relevant, but more the meta example of how they've stitched them all together, how they built a platform that then they can expand and extend onto. There's lots of great stuff in this article. So yeah, I can definitely go with that.
All righty, Paul.
Yes, definitely important. I think the use case is an important one. The fact that they're using Llama Index, which is a not always well-known technology and framework, but important. It's coming on, And 3, this is getting closer and closer to everyday use cases here, which I think is a really important trend as we move away from companies spending $10 million a year on these technologies to smaller companies.
All right, but I was going for essential, not important.
Oh, no, not essential.
Not essential. Adam, you're not essential either?
No, I was with you, John.
Okay. All right. Yeah, well, let's go ahead with essential on this one, and then, both for its case studies and for the alternative platform. And I think I'm going to keep essential on the New York Times one. The other thing is tomorrow or the next day, I hope we'll review. There's a lovely paper referred to in the New York Times one that talks about how you can use a specified text injection into these models to improve your product placement, which was done back in April by a couple of folks at Harvard University. So how you manage your brand. So, all right. Akash, can you give us the tote? And then I know you also have a vendor, an evaluation of vendor trends last month that we're going to cover.
Great, John.
All right, so we got 2 essentials today. How you change your chatbot's mind, managing reputations, Gymnation, and this use of Llama Index. All right, Akash, what are our monthly trends?
Yes, John. So these are our monthly trends. So basically, we are talking about how the investment in existing foundation models and new models is continuing. So we have seen Jamba 1.5 family of models from uh, AI21, LFalpha's Faria 1 LLM model family, Microsoft launching new models in its smaller series of Phi 3.5 and the Gamma 2 billion series by Google. Similarly, we are seeing a lot of new features which are essential for ease of use. So this includes OpenAI structured outputs in its API, Anthropic's prompt caching, and Google's GEMS feature, the latest one. Then we are also seeing a focus on longer context windows and longer outputs as well. So we have seen AI21's 256,000 tokens context window, Magic's 100 million token context window, and we have also seen a 16K long output from OpenAI. Then last but not the least is around the LLM powered coding tools. So here we see a lot of investment going into this, Cursor raising $60 million, Codium raising $150 million. Magic is also raising a very big amount. That's the news for today. And overall, we are seeing a lot of use cases being discussed in various forums where Cursor is being used with Claude to develop some pretty fascinating features in just a few minutes.
All right. So we have continued investment in the core, new features, specifically long context windows, interesting trade-offs between model training and inference after you already have the model, using things like long context windows, real economics being driven there, and then coding tools, continuing software productivity is hitting a whole new performance curve. Any other reflections, Paul, Adam, on our trends here?
No, this is the first of our monthly news series, so we are going to continue to, we are launching a monthly summary of the top 20, 30 vendors that we're monitoring in this enterprise enterprise intelligence application emerging category, and this is the first one, so very excited about that. And Ankaj, great work for you and the other teams. I think the other thing, Adam, this was a good exercise for me and the team that pushed myself up a little bit. Because if you grabbed me a week ago and said, Paul, what was the top 3 trends in August? I'm not sure I could have articulated them this well. I mean, this daily news has been great because we're at the granular level here, but helicoptering back up, and John, it shows me we continue to have incredibly robust early market that continuing to expand on all these different dimensions. I mean, new models, existing models are getting better. The inputs are getting huge. The outputs are getting bigger. It's transforming coding in a way that I think even 12 months ago, people didn't really understand how fast this was. So
yeah,
we remain a breathtaking area.
And from the conversation you and I were having yesterday too, that you also have on the research side, that's not slowing down either. So you have alternative models to the transformers that are coming along, whether it's state models or liquid AI models. It's very interesting. Adam, reflections?
No, I think you make a good point, Paul. It is in the day to day, it's really hard to sort of get that view. And when this is great. No, I hadn't seen this before the show tonight, so that's really helpful.
That's great. Awesome. Yes, Ankaj, thanks to you and the team for putting this together. We'll continue to do this. This is going to be published on our website. Is that correct, Paul?
I'll be public on the website and send out an email this week. And we also, John, we have Learning Lab tonight. Chris Brock is joining us, and he has got a fascinating personal example. He's definitely a bit of a polymath, but he's got some mathematical proof he's gone on and off his sport, and he put it into Claude, and Claude kicked out a 55-page mathematical proof that's breathtaking. So he's going to walk us down, but it's really, really interesting on kind of bleeding edge, like field metals type on thing of these abilities of co-intelligences to push our thinking, find new areas, see correlations that wasn't even on it, and he's going to walk us through it. So it's a really, really exciting time. It will be recorded, but we hope you can join us at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, it's really AI as a discovery partner, if you will.
Yeah.
And, I think we're seeing that in a number of areas, whether it's drug development or marketing in terms of, positioning or, framework creation. I just think, and in addition, Paul, you and I talked a lot about, and Adam, this notion of having conversations among the intelligences, because each of these large language models has, I don't know if it's an infinite number, but a vast number of intelligences that you can tap into. I think it's a new frame. Anyway, that's it. 7:30 Eastern tonight for our learning lab. Thanks, everybody. Ankash, thanks for the great new work, and see you all tomorrow.
Hey, John, just to remind everyone to go and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Right.
And for people who are in the U.S. area or planning, that there's a handful of people flying in, our conference, Generative AI World 2024, is now 34 days away. So right around the corner.
Right around the corner. All right. We'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye now.